anti-aircraft weaponry. A convoy of donated fire engines and thousands of pieces of equipment will depart the UK for Ukraine later. The former Prime Minister Gordon Brown says Putin should face an international tribunal over his actions in Ukraine. The ex-Labour leader is one of 140 academics, lawyers and politicians to sign a petition calling for a legal system modelled on the Nuremberg trials of Nazi war criminals after World War II. The International Criminal Court is already investigating Russia's leader for alleged war crimes, but some say the ICC's powers are limited. In other news, research shows workers in the UK have missed out on pay rises worth thousands of pounds since the 2007 financial crisis. The TUC says people would be £76 a week better off if wage growth had kept up with global averages. Kate Bell from the union is urging the Chancellor to help in next week's spring statement.
He's got to have a plan to get wages rising. That means new powers for trade unions to help them drive up workers' pay. It means an immediate boost in the national minimum wage. And it means ending those public sector pay freezes and funding a real rise in pay for public sector workers.
Rishi Sunak promised to support people through the cost of living crisis. And the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have cancelled the first stop on their Caribbean tour after the locals said they didn't want them to come. Residents in the village in Belize held a protest opposing the royal visit, and the engagement was removed from the schedule. The weather, a fine and dry day, windy in the south and west. Sunshine for many, a high of 16 degrees. From Global's newsroom, I'm Lottie Morley. Here in the UK, we sell amazing products and services the whole world wants.
At the Black Farmer in Devon, our produce is enjoyed on both sides of the Atlantic.
We're McKinnon and Saunders from Manchester, and our publics are watched on 6 continents.
Whilst at Acceleron in Birmingham, our sustainable, recyclable batteries are helping power 9 countries.
So whatever your business, big or small, start-up or established, if you make it in the UK, why not sell it to the world? To get free help from the UK government, search Let's Get Exporting.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Andrew Castle.
We'll talk about P&O. We'll talk about the strip search of that poor girl that was completely wrong. Black girl strip searched, no adult present. We'll talk about that. A number of other issues as well. You've got that trans swimmer in the United States has won the NCAA College Championship by absolutely miles, pushing an Olympic medalist down to 3rd on the podium. Clearly that's ridiculous, so we'll talk about all of these issues. But as I say goodbye to you on Saturday the 19th of March, there is really one story in the world which continues to dominate, and that is Ukraine. Let me bring you up to speed with the latest. Vladimir Putin has praised Russian unity over what the Kremlin is calling its special operation in Ukraine. It was a rare public speech in the Moscow stadium, the Luzhniki Stadium. 82,000 people or so in there. I don't know whether they were paid, herded in or what, or whether they really believed what they were seeing. It was like the Nuremberg rallies, Hitler's Nuremberg rallies. It was deeply sinister. That stadium hosted the 2018 Men's Football World Cup final, by the way. President Zelensky of Ukraine used his daily address on Saturday morning to reiterate his desire for peace talks. Keeps on talking about these peace talks, which I suppose we all have to do, but each and every day we look for progress. Do we see it? Well, Mr. Zelensky said such talks were Russia's only chance to reduce the damage from its own mistakes, and its military tactics were only worsening the situation in terms of sanctions. So with Putin showing no sign of stopping and the continual refusal to honour any ceasefire agreements, it seems, are these talks in vain? Are we going to see any progress, or is it just going to not stop? Are Russia just regrouping at this point while they talk about peace talks? What's next? Very, very difficult in every single way to watch all of this, isn't it? Richard Enser is a Ukraine correspondent for The Economist, joining us from Lviv, in fact. Richard, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's the latest from where you are? Because
in 300 yards, keep right to continue towards Tons Lane, A355.
Looked at, do you feel a sense of threat? Do the people there feel that sense of threat?
Well, that's the case. Everywhere in the country is fair game as far as the Russians are concerned, and Lviv has this kind of peculiar status right now as a sanctuary.
Keep right.
Fleeing places much closer to the front line where Russian bombs are dropping with greater regularity. But at the same time here, yesterday morning, everyone in Lviv woke up to a plume of smoke just on the city limits where a factory close to the airport that repaired military aircraft had been hit. So a lot of people, when they come to Lviv, it's not safe enough, and they continue to move to Poland or through to NATO territory, to EU territory, even as far as the United Kingdom. The United Nations yesterday said that 10 million Ukrainians have been displaced by this crisis. That is a quarter of the population, 1 person in 4. And about 3 million of those have left the country, and another 6 million have had to move around within their country. So this is for something like that to happen within 3 weeks. It really boggles the mind, and as you say, it's not clear whether this could go for another 5 days or another 5 years. We may just be getting started.
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the second exit onto A355.
And the subsequent invasion, and we look at where we are now compared to where we've been, and we must all ask ourselves the question, how come we were all so stupid?
Well, you do wonder, who's getting what out of this, and it's hard to pin down a beneficiary. Certainly what Russia expected to gain from this crisis, if it was an easy win or something else, they don't seem to have got it. If you look at what Russia is going through domestically right now, it's very easy to conclude that Vladimir Putin is destroying 2 countries and not just one in this crisis, considering what so many Russians have had to go through.
Do you think he cares about that, Richard?
In a quarter of a mile, merge onto
I
M4.
was out this week with a Russian national and a friend of mine, and I was hearing from this person things which I didn't imagine that I would be, which is there's misinformation on both sides, there's fake news on both sides, there's manipulation on both sides. Questions such as, and I think this is a victory for Putin, questions such as, why would Russia bomb and shell
Continue on M4 for 3 miles.
residential blocks? This is what I'm still hearing, and that's what the person I was talking to is hearing from people in Russia as well, who are this person's friends. I found that incredible.
Well, that's a big topic of discussion, which is, do Russia support this war? Really? Do these polls suggesting large support are they credulous, and what does that mean? Because if this is something that Russians support, then it's not just one man waging a war that is necessary in his mind and his mind alone. That's one thing. But if the sentiment is so widespread in society, that is something that is very difficult to contemplate, and something that raises a lot of difficult questions. I can tell you also, I know a lot of Russians personally feel tremendous guilt at having watched as their society is plunged into some kind of modern-day fascism, and we feel helpless about doing anything about it at this point. But certainly Ukrainians on the ground here, they feel very little sympathy for Russians who may be suffering from economic sanctions, who may be suffering from political pain.
In 2 miles, at junction 5, take the A4, B470 exit to Colnbrick, Langley.
Ukrainians are showing a lot of bravery to Russian tanks and to Russian military forces on the ground in Ukraine, and Russians over there seem too scared to protest. That's a popular sentiment over there.
Richard, thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. Ukraine correspondent for The Economist joining us from Lviv. Colonel John Hughes Wilson is former colonel in NATO's International Intelligence Staff. Colonel John Hughes Wilson, welcome to the programme.
Good morning. I'm full of respect
quarter of a mile, at junction 5, take the A4, B470 exit to Colnbrick, Langley.
Okay, Colonel Hughes Wilson, could you just repeat the second part of that answer? I didn't hear that, and I don't think the listeners did either. Sorry about that.
Right. No, not at all. The wonders of modern technology. I think the answer is if the talks go on and there is no result, it buys time for the Russians to prepare and also time for the...
Exit at junction 5.
Is there a way out of this for Putin? Do you think that there is any motivation
In a quarter of a mile, at Langley roundabout, take the third exit onto London Road, A4.
in any way other than complete dominance and control of Ukraine?
No, I think, Andrew, he's trying to pull his chestnuts out of the fire. He realizes the grand strategy has gone horribly wrong, and he's now trying to make the best of a bad job. And I think we can predict with a fair degree of accuracy, we are going to see Mariupol fall, and that corridor between Crimea and Donetsk established as a Russian way of getting at the Crimea. And I see in this, and this is very important, particularly for, I hate to be pompous, the younger generation, there are creepy echoes here of the 1930s, and this is straight out of the Dr. Goebbels playbook. Remember Rennie Liefenstahl's film, The Triumph of the Will?
Absolutely.
That's what we saw last night. We saw a Nuremberg rally, and that, I find, you use the word sinister, I find it distinctly creepy. You could only describe it as a Billy Graham type rally, because he wants to keep the party members on side.
I thought that was extraordinary. The Triumph of the Will and all the other films that Leni Riefenstahl made, pure propaganda. So we mustn't get, when somebody burgles a house, you're not supposed to get between that burglar and the exit. You're supposed to give them an exit, even if you don't feel like it and you want to kill them. Now, what exit can we give Putin? What exit might he see that would enable some of this suffering to end?
Well, that's a very good question. I would think to allow him to have his corridor to the Crimea. The siege of Kiev, the capital, is absolute nonsense, because no one's going to go and send close-quarter urban fighting into a city the size of Kiev. So he's going to have to find some way of being given some gains and getting something that he can sell to the Russian people. What that is a very good point. And I think we may end up with a situation where we have an indefensible new border where the Russians keep their gains which they've nibbled away at, and that leaves the Ukrainians on the edge of a war zone for, who knows, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years.
But you're saying that he might, Putin, if he does get that corridor that he's looking for in the eastern half of the country, that might be something that he could say, this is now mine. Where does that leave Kyiv?
Well, it leaves Kyiv stuck in the north as an example of a capital that's been besieged. And they all go back to, I was going to say Bessarabia, they all go back into the north, and he's left in peace. I can't see him wanting to come to the west bank of the Dnieper. That's only going to cause trouble. And I think his original plan, and most military strategists would go along this, his original plan, and he was badly led up the garden path by his own intelligence people and the logisticians, we can seize the whole of eastern Ukraine up to the Dnieper River, and that would be a defense.
Exit the roundabout onto London Road.
Great speaking with you. Thank you very much indeed for your time. As you say, early on a Saturday morning, Colonel John Hughes Wilson, former colonel in NATO's international intelligence staff. 7:15 is the time. Question to you, 034560600973 if you wish to get involved in this. What's the way out? And how do you feel when you watch some of this? I feel utterly helpless. We'll talk about the refugee scheme later on. I signed up for it this week, got some information from my local authority, my local council, looked at the gov.uk thing that dropped yesterday, the email. It's a bit like a passenger locator form times 100. Complicated, difficult. God knows what it looks like if you're in Ukraine and you don't have somebody here. We want to help. I'm still not exactly sure how, apart from to wait and get more information, because we don't have contacts with anybody close. But yeah, peace talks. Is he just buying time, Putin? And coming up after the news, P&O staff protested yesterday after 800 staff members were sacked. It was a pre-recorded Zoom message. It was a PR disaster. It was a personal disaster for
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, continue straight to stay on London Road, A4.
It was an absolute disgrace as cheaper agency crew were brought in. Disgraceful stuff. Conservative MP for Dover and Deal, Natalie Elphick, attended one of the demonstrations. Here's what she had to say to our reporters.
It's an absolute disgrace. I mean, I just can't believe how P&O Ferries and DP World have behaved. And I think we're here today showing that we're really, really angry. We want them to change their mind and reinstate those jobs.
Yeah, but the RMT union was screaming and shouting at her, saying it was her fault and her government. Who do you pick? One of the ruling family of Dubai or the RMT? Lottie Morley has the news Saturday morning.
The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has called for Vladimir Putin to come for meaningful peace and security talks without delay. Research from the TUC shows workers in the UK have missed out on pay rises worth thousands of pounds since 2007. And the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have cancelled the first stop on their Caribbean tour after the locals said they didn't want them to come. LBC weather, sunshine for many, a high of 16 degrees.
LBC Travel, I'm Dave Chornham. In Norbury on the London Road heading southbound, there's been an accident, meaning it's closed from Norbury Avenue to Heathdean Road, and there's recovery work after an accident in Tottenham. That's on the High Road moving southbound, meaning there's no left turn onto Monument Way. In Canning Town, 2 lanes are closed on the A13 East India Dock moving west at Learmouth Road. That's because of an overturned car. And finally in Southall on the Somerset Road, there's an ongoing police investigation, meaning it's closed from Mornington Road to Lady Margaret Road.
This is LBC.
Is your business truly unlimited? At 3, we think it should be. Whether you want to connect a team of 10 or 200, our business SIMs offer unlimited calls, texts, and data, all for just £7.50 each. Plus, with no data caps, when we say unlimited, we mean unlimited. Search 3 Business or visit us in store.
£7.50 when you buy 10 or more SIMs. 24-month plan excludes 20% VAT. Terms apply. See 3.co.uk/terms/business.
My prostate cancer was thankfully caught in the nick of time, but it shouldn't be down to luck. Men at higher risk are
Aged over 50.
Those with a family history of the disease, or black men, or the 45.
Check your risk of prostate cancer now. Search Risk Checker or visit prostatecanceruk.org. Men, we are with you.
eToro is a social network.
No, eToro is an investment platform. It's both. That's social investing. In other words, it's where millions of people invest in stocks, share ideas and strategies. eToro, the power of social investing. Download eToro today from the App Store or Google Play. Your capital is at risk.
Hey, Business Types. Meet Ed. Ed's head is always in the clouds. Can you hear us up there, Ed? He knows it's time to update his business phones to something smarter and simpler, like Circle Loop, the new app-based phone system that can
quarter of a mile, use the right 2 lanes to turn right onto Stanwell Moor Road, A3044. Use the right 2 lanes to turn right onto Stanwell Moor Road, A3044. In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the second exit and stay on Stanwell Moor Road, A3044. Exit the roundabout onto Stanwell Moor Road. Continue on Stanwell Moor Road for 1 mile. In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the first exit onto Southern Perimeter Road. Exit the roundabout onto Southern Perimeter Road. In 200 yards, at Western Perimeter Road roundabout, take the second exit and stay on Southern Perimeter Road. Exit the roundabout onto Southern Perimeter Road. Continue on Southern Perimeter Road for 1.5 miles. quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the third exit onto Beacon Road. Exit the roundabout onto Beacon Road. In 100 yards, at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Stanwell Road. Exit the roundabout onto Stanwell Road. In a quarter of a mile, turn right onto Great Southwest Road, A30. Turn right onto Great Southwest Road, A30. In a quarter of a mile, at Clockhouse Roundabout, take the first exit onto Staines Road, A315. In 200 yards, turn left onto Hatton Road. Turn left onto Hatton Road. Turn left onto Staines Road, A315. In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, continue straight to stay on Staines Road, A315. In 300 yards, turn right onto Shaftesbury Avenue. Take the next right onto Shaftesbury Avenue, then turn left onto Roslin Avenue.